Yeah, baby, we're back.
We are, and we're absolutely stoked. This is
the culmination of all of this dumbness that is involved, and we had to invite someone much smarter than us.
We needed an expert because people were after weeks of listening to the show and listening to us debate this stuff. They're like, you know what? I'm tired of the show. There's too much stupidity week after week.
Not only that, I feel like even to people who spoke Spanish before English, we've caused so much confusion, even to them.
Yeah.
They forgot what they used to call
We've torn families apart.
Yeah.
This is
So look, you guys definitely know who she is. Look, you've seen her on Netflix. You've seen her on old digital channels. You've seen her on her digital channel, Joanna Hausmann Comedy. Ladies and gentlemen, unless you're driving, put your hands together for the one, the only, and our friend. Look, we know cool people. Joanna Hausmann, everybody.
Thank you
Joanna.
so much. Thank you. You said I was an expert. So yes, I'm an expert in linguistics.
Yeah, that is the accent of truth.
Yes,
as we all know.
All British people are experts. It doesn't matter what education or.
You put a lab coat on any British person in a movie, and you're like, we'll trust that guy.
I trust him with my life. Really.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joanna Hausmann, hello. Yes, we do know Joanna. We all worked together while you were the face of Flama.
Worked, by the way.
Yeah,
how
we
much
did.
work was going on there? We were just hanging out, doing nothing, and then eventually cameras showed up.
That's basically what my job was. Yeah, I remember when we were building up Flama, I was like, okay, we need like really funny Latinos. And there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And they rarely get
And they
a
were all
chance.
busy, so they asked Christian and I.
Everyone was busy, and then you guys showed up. I don't know why. You were hanging out in our conference room, and then we shot some stuff.
Christian was there to fix the computers. I was just trying to steal coffee. And they're like, hey, do you guys want to be in front of the camera?
Hey, you guys speak Spanish? All right.
Good enough for us. Univision's digital channel. We're not going to pay you shit.
That's exactly how it goes down.
But it has been great seeing your come up, right? Because that's where we met you. But you started out at comedy at UCB, right? Am I?
Yeah, I was a performer at UCB. I had been at Second City in Chicago.
Okay.
So I was more in the live comedy world.
Yeah.
And then the internet happened. I mean, the internet happened way before. But
You're like, what is that?
It's here.
Yeah.
Joanna's 48 years old. We just learned now.
Yeah. She bites the heads off bats. That's how she stays young.
You guys know way too much about me. And so then when the internet showed up in my life, I was like, oh, I can make comedy, but way more specific than I can make on stage.
Well, yeah, because you have to be universal when you're on stage. On the internet, it doesn't matter because whoever you're pointing that comedy to whoever's searching for that anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'd argue that the more general you are online, the worse your outcome. Less people are interested in watching it. It's niche content and identity content is so successful because everyone's connected to the internet and they're just trying to find themselves somewhere in the maze.
Right. It's almost like two Latinos started a soccer podcast.
Yeah, it's something weird crazy like that. Yeah.
Only talk about American soccer for the most part.
Even extra niche.
We're getting mad niche right now. Although that success part just hasn't hit us just yet, but we're working towards it.
So that's where we met you, and then you started doing these videos for Flama about called Joanna Rants, right? Mm-hmm. That was basically the main theme of you finding a particular issue and speaking on it.
But it's also from the viewpoint that I think is something that we've tried to get across on this podcast, which is the word Latino is like such a broad term for people with such different cultures sometimes. You're Venezuelan, right? I'm Cuban, Dominican. Sometimes the things we do don't exactly overlap. We're not all exactly the same just because we were raped by the same boats. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? We're all different. So a lot of your rants come from...
Thanks for the imagery.
Yeah, no problem.
We're getting raped by a boat.
By a boat.
Not a person.
No,
think of a Disney boat, though. Like, it's got a face on the front.
Yeah.
It's a little nicer. But you get what I'm saying? It's like...
The splinters alone.
Yeah. Anyway. Well, they oil. Anyway, so what we do sometimes, we try to explain, like, there's no such thing as, like, this universal Latino. Like, we're all different. And it came up in many, many different ways. But that's a lot of what the Joanna Rants have been. Mm-hmm. And it's inspiring to Latinos because, like, look, finally someone's talking about this.
Well, I think, so the word Latino, as you said, encompasses, like, over 20 countries, which means, like, over 20 idiosyncrasies, cultures, etc.
Right.
I mean, even Brazil is put in there. They don't even speak Spanish. So it almost feels like your identity is washed down so that, people called Betty understand what you are.
Yeah.
I know nobody called Betty. I don't know why I use that word. Lauren, Molly, can sort of easily digest who you are and your identity.
Right. Yeah.
But, I'm a redheaded Jew from Venezuela. Like, no one believes I'm from Venezuela. My Afro-Latino friends, no one believes that they're from Nicaragua or from
Yeah.
So it's like, why
People
are
think
we...
I'm Asian.
People think you're Asian?
People think I'm
Yo,
Asian.
you actually look Filipino.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, to be fair, Filipinos are the Latinos of the Asian
Yeah.
world. So
I also say that the Jamaicans, because have you ever seen them dance, bruh? Filipinos know how to get down.
they know how to...
Not to
they-
generalize, but all of you. And they say the days of the week just like us. It's pretty dope.
Wait, really?
De lunes, martes, miércoles.
No,
Oh, yeah.
they do not.
100% Filipinos days of the week is exactly
Oh
in
my God. I
Spanish.
get along with all Filipinos, basically,
Yeah.
except for their quote-unquote president. I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
he's nice.
Oh, yeah,
but
Because he's gunning down anyone who uses a drug. Yeah.
no, I'm not a fan of him.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to talk about identity in a way that encompassed everyone. So what's so weird is that, talking about how different we are is a way to unify us, and which is like it doesn't make sense in theory, but in practice it does. Like I'm married to a Colombian, and
I'm sorry to hear that.
half our
I don't know
life...
what that means. I'm offended because
Yeah.
I was
By the way,
Colombian.
I
I
think-
was Colombian throughout the World Cup.
He
So-
was.
oh
Yeah.
my
His
God,
whole
me
life.
too.
His whole life during the World Cup.
Yeah.
But like most of our relationship, is like fake fighting about different things in our cultures that don't really make a difference. Like I call a toilet poseta, and he calls toilets inodoro, and I just find that a horrendous word. I find inodoro way more offensive than poseta, and we fight about it like
No.
once a month.
Poseta sounds like what you put in the toilet to use it.
Really? I think it's cute.
I never heard that word before.
Never.
Poseta?
Poseta, no.
Yeah, I didn't know that was just a Venezuelan word. I also didn't know cambur, which is banana in Venezuela, was only a Venezuelan word. I had no idea.
This is one of my most frustrating things. Why are we changing the word banana when it's in Spanish already?
Banana.
Banana.
Banana. Pero es que
Where'd
it's
they
a
put the
cambur.
O in it? He said this thing. He went to a party with Colombians, and they all said banano. And I'm like, why would you just not keep the A? Why are we changing it?
No, because we want to show our special creativity with our words. I don't know what it is.
I think every country wants to be distinct and be a little bit different than their neighbor in some way.
And I've been like breaking down the etymology of some words in Latin America, and some of the histories
My
are
brain just
insane.
froze. Etymology. What is that? I thought we were ordering peas at a Japanese restaurant.
Edamame.
Yeah. I was like,
that's a Spanish cock call.
Yeah.
Edamame.
Edamame. It's like, what's the sixth flavor? Umami. Umami.
Ooh.
Umami.
Etymology. So basically, a lot of these words have really recent histories, and you see how it's so easy for a word to become just a common vernacular in one country, but like it does not share its history with anyone else. So in Venezuela, we have a word that's coroto, and it just means like junk in your house or stuff in your house or literally anything. It's like vaina, but a little classier.
Because
And-
it's not Dominican.
I mean,
Thank you.
there's actually I don't know
dude.
of a word that's classier in the Spanish language than
Than
vaina.
vaina.
I don't know. I
mean-
never found one.
Well, did we
Vaina-
ever decide if it's V or B?
It depends what you're talking about. Like, que esa vaina. Some Venezuelans don't even do the V. They're just like, que esa vaina.
Sure.
There's no
Oh,
consonant.
Cubans don't use it at all. It's only Dominicans. Cubans don't use vaina at all.
Really?
It's not a thing.
Venezuelans use it a
No,
lot.
it's not only Dominicans.
I'm saying for us because we don't know that many. I don't know.
Colombians use
Venezuelans.
vaina.
Okay.
For us, it's a very Dominican. When we're making fun of Dominicans, like if we're pretending to be a Dominican, we'll use vaina.
Is that part of the life?
I mean, grandma's birthday. Everybody, put on the blackface. No, I'm joking. So,
But people listening
Yeah,
do
yeah.
not know that Alexis not only to pretend to be Dominican, he did a motion.
I did a robot.
like a weird robot. Like we're barely
watch
human.
this on YouTube.
It's so
By
weird.
the way,
'cause
my grandmother's already black, so there's no reason for her to put on blackface.
you look like you were on a Stairmaster.
That's not happening.
No, that's
We'll
you
never
need to
happen.
really strongly visualize for me to be on a Stairmaster. You know how hard you have to think for that to happen?
It's hard. It's really
Yeah, yeah. There's smoke coming out of that red hair. of
So
yours.
we brought you here. We brought Joanna Hausmann here because of of Strawgate.
Right.
Strawgate.
Speaking of all these things, yes.
We needed to get at least just a different take on why there are so many different words for this one item that seems incredibly practical.
And not just that, you mentioned how you and your husband argue over something that's never really going to be resolved. That's kind of the Cooligans, right? It's kind of what we do here. But one thing we've realized is there is no right word for straw. Everyone just has their own word for straw. So what do we do with all this? Where do we go from here? So you have a lot on your plate here.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna go back to this accent because I feel like so here's my theory. I think that as Latinos, we need a language. What's that language that like people wanted everyone? It was like the language that everyone was going to learn how to speak. It was it's like a non-existent language that they were starting to build out for it's like to replace English.
Ebonics.
I was just about to say that.
Stand-up comedians.
We take nothing seriously.
I forgot what it is. It was basically like a universal. They were trying to create this universal language. I think we're going to have to agree that either we're going to have to learn other people's words, or we're going to have to replace, I think we have to figure out which is the best word for these ridiculous objects such as straw, kite, freaking
You know what?
popcorn. Who cares?
How did the kite become something that's so argued?
But you know what? I think before we even get to some of the other words, I think this is maybe because we live in America and that the culture of being American is like, hey, this is how learn English when you get here. You have to immediately adapt to this country. So as Latin Americans, we're like, this is why it feels so strange to us that there could be so many words in the same language. You know what I mean?
For such innocuous things.
Yes.
Like what you said. Who gives... Who cares about a straw? There's no different words for identity or business or conflict. No, those are all the same.
Yeah.
But for what you eat when you go to the movie theater, there's 27 different ways of saying it.
God forbid a Peruvian on vacation in Uruguay goes to a movie theater. All hell will break loose.
All hell. Well, actually, when I went to Panama,
you were just there.
Our word for angry in Venezuela is arrecha, and it means horny in Panama.
Okay. We did a video about this at Flama, and arrecha was the word that I was supposed to use. It's like, oh, you're making me very arrecha. And the other girl was like, ooh, and I'm like, huh? So that one I knew. But how the hell did angry and horny ever get? Because it's the same word.
When you think about it, they're kind of very similar.
Very similar.
Back in the day,
they live in the same room.
They live in they're in the part of the same family. They're like for sure cousins. That's gross. But yeah.
Well, I'm angry that you're horny if that's your cousin.
But so for example, popcorn, right?
Yeah.
Popcorn has 17 different ways of being expressed in the Spanish language. And I want to break down why the Venezuelan version is cotufa. Just so you understand how this happens.
Can I just give people a reference?
Sure.
In Dominican and Cuban, some people will say rosita de maíz. So you could see how different it is to cotufa.
And
cotufa sounds the sound of when your mother hits you with a chancleta.
Well, do you know where it comes from?
No.
Okay, check this out. Look at this etymological dissection of the word. So, cotufa actually came from the labeling on the popcorn that would come from the United States. And on it, it would say corn to fry. And that, through time, became cotufa.
Yeah.
This
Corn
is
to
like
fry, cotufa. Like, that is how it evolved.
That's like Vive Peru.
Viva Peru.
Viva Peru.
I did not know it was Vicks Vapor Rub until I went to a Dwayne Reed, and I was like, that's so weird, Vicks Vapor Rub. It looks just like Viva Peru. And my friend was like, what? And I'm like, we have that, but back home it's Viva Peru. Vicks Vapor Rub. I was like, oh my...
Yeah. It's like that, you know that movie sequence where the background also gets closer as the camera on your face? Like that trick? It's that every time we see one of these.
There's a DP following me everywhere doing that.
There's, when I was a kid, and I remember when my grandmother would make beef steak. vamos a get a bistec. It's steak. It's like Cubans make a very like thin, dry steak. Bistec. I never thought of it. B-I-S-T-E-C or T-E-K.
Bistec.
Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, I went to a school with white kids in it for 2 years, and they invited me to something called a beefsteak. And I was like, beefsteak. That almost sounds...
Yeah.
Like,
the camera comes from...
Yeah, the call's coming from inside the house.
Well, my favorite is pariguayo.
Pariguayo.
Pariguayo. You know the term pariguayo? Like that's just like a corny dude. Like Dominicans say, like, oh,
it's a guy at a party that doesn't dance or something like that, right?
Yeah. So that's where it came from. So it was when like American troops were stationed in Dominican Republic. They would have like these gates and like these borders, and the Dominicans would watch them like have a party and stuff like that. So
that'd be mad corny.
So the Americans would call them party watchers, and then that became pariguayo.
My God, that's where it comes from?
That's exactly where it comes
from. So in other words, America has ruined Latin America, even just in the words, man.
English has seeped into our existence.
Oh, very much so.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's no way to really avoid that. It is like this just being American, being here and having that influence, because we are when we're home, when we're raised at home, it was like in a very Spanish-speaking environment, and then you leave, and then it's a completely different world that you have to adapt to. But there is this challenge in conveying, even the people listening to the show. There's a lot of people. There are people in the Midwest that listen to this, and they're like.
Right now, there's a 35-year-old farmer, a white male farmer in Kansas who listens to this, and he started using dead ass and gully when he's talking to like his grain distributor. So
like,
we're changing
lives.
Yeah, he said, "Yo, dead ass, give me that grain right now, my guy." You know, he's like, "Hold on, sorry, I just had a brain fart."
It's almost like this, not even responsibility, but this duty a little bit to convey what's going on in our homes to people who don't really understand it, and we have to make it palatable for them.
And also the overlap in soccer is the American soccer fan is the guy at the Cuban guy at the Dominican party asking for a bag saying "Dame la java," and nobody knows what a java is. Did you guys know java is?
No.
Cubans use java for bag.
Yes, I do.
For what?
Like
Bag?
bolsa.
Is java?
Java. Dame la java.
Java.
Yeah.
Nagila java.
Well, that's because we have Jews in Cuba, and they have bags. Yeah. So they brought bags with them when they came.
We have a bunch of bags, guys.
They're very popular with bags.
Oh, yes.
So my thing is, like, the American soccer fans, we get made fun of across, the pond for saying PK, for penalty kick instead of just a penalty. Or
interesting.
Road game instead of an away match. Things like that. Like, we get made fun of for those things. Soccer instead of football. So there's this sort of correlation of like these words that we have this pride of using and no one else uses it. I still say java. I still say that.
Yeah.
No one will know what you're talking about.
A shirt is a pullover because you pull it over.
Yeah.
That's
Pullover.
right. Un pullover.
Un pullover.
You don't say that if there's buttons. That's a camisa.
But if a cop says pull over, that's a different thing.
I'm like, okay, you can have it, but I'm going to keep driving drunk.
And also, like, just the term soccer, like the word soccer, that is a purely American word.
No, the English made it up.
The English made it up, yeah.
It's short. It's association football.
So why do they say? Why does they still say football then?
All three sports are football: rugby, gridiron, which we call NFL, and association football, which is soccer. So to separate it from the other sports, they started using the first word: rugby, gridiron, and association. Shorten association to a sock. A sock becomes soccer. That's the term they used. Then they switched to football in the fucking 80s.
Oh, they switched in the 80s. Because now it is, I feel like the only people that say soccer are...
It's us and Australians and...
Oh, Australians too?
Yeah, they call themselves the Socceroos.
Oh, because they have a lot of rugby too.
Yeah.
I love that you do great accents. You have a bunch of videos. If you guys are listening, go to Joanna Hausmann's YouTube channel and subscribe. It's incredible.
Thank you so much.
But what are some of your favorite accents? Because you do a lot of them very well.
Mad disrespect for the Cuban accent. You say we swallow our tongue. I saw that video.
Lo que pasa es que los cubanos tienen una cosa ahí en la boca.
I gotta be honest. Beautiful sound. Okay. Is Joanna singing again?
It sounds like either that or like I just got 4 teeth removed and I still have Novocaine on my mouth. I love the Colombian accent, specifically from Medellin, because I say that it sounds like Sean Connery telling you a really sad story. So it's like, ay no, pues es que imagínate yo, es que yo estaba allá y de repente vino mi mejor amigo y me recogió, no vale. And it was just like it's like what she said is nothing. It's just facts. It's not a sad story.
There's like an acoustic guitar playing
in the corner
background.
with like blue lighting. It's all everything is like tragic.
It's like that Portuguese music Fado is playing in the background. Everyone's crying.
Everyone's crying.
She's actually just talking about going to the store, guys.
Yeah, she's just neat. That's it.
You know, I think would be fun because you love doing the Colombian accent. I just thought this right now. How about, and we do a soccer show, would you mind reading in a Colombian accent the football MLS Twitter account? So this is
oh
just,
my God, yes.
It's just a tweet. I'm trying to find this one. So Zlatan just re-signed with the Los Angeles Galaxy.
With LA Galaxy.
So Joanna Hausmann is going to announce that. The Colombian Joanna Hausmann.
Es oficial. El León se queda. La Galaxy ha fichado a Ibra Oficial a un nuevo contrato.
Bravo.
It's like, why is it so serious?
Well, Venezuelans are, it's so funny because of the Venezuelan crisis, a lot of Venezuelans have moved to Colombia, and a lot of my friends are like marrying Colombians. So there's this weird hybrid of like Colombo Venezolano now.
And you're doing it here. Okay.
And we're doing it here. We're just like everywhere. It's kind of like we're very similar in our foods, in our customs, in everything.
La Gran Colombia.
La Gran Colombia.
Yeah.
We're very, very similar. But truthfully, in my opinion, Colombians are way more serious and like como respectful.
Yeah.
And Venezuelans are like the drunk cousin.
Yeah.
So
hey, look who's here.
like because Venezuelans would have read this like this. Where's the tweet? Let me find it. Right. Venezuelans would have read it like this. Es oficial, el León se queda, la Galaxia ha fichado a Ibra Oficial en un nuevo contrato, coño.
Yeah, that sounds like a party.
Yeah, are you kidding me?
Y'all
We're getting lit.
Did somebody open sangria in the back?
Yes.
That's great. So look.
But hold on a second. Can we talk a little bit about the Dominican accent? Because it's the most sing-songy. It's very hard.
I think you guys sound like you're speaking
the volume
in cursive.
is going up and down.
It's like a sine curve. Yes, it's
okay.
like. Pero every time I do it, I feel like I sound Cuban. I have not been able to figure out how to do the Dominican accent.
I always have to start with, pero chico, ¿qué dice?
Pero
¿por qué tú haces esto?
Pero ¿qué tú haces?
Yeah. It's a very like, whoa, when's the word gonna end? You know?
Yeah, because I hear it, and I have this very, maybe you have this with Venezuelans as well, where like when you hear it, especially you something happens. It's like in your blood. You're like, oh, all right, I'm home.
Yeah. Like when I hear like, oh yeah, chico, pero qué? And I'm like, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That's me.
Yeah, now we're doing
Chico.
it.
So when there's definitely like Santo Domingo, Santiago, like
of course, we're talking about the general.
You hear, but I don't know. Like there's something about the Dominican accent, especially when it's like spoken from like an educator, that I'm like, yo, this sounds better than any fucking language you're ever gonna hear. Like this, like it's what you're hearing. Like obviously Omega and like all these dudes or whatever. Like the slang, this Dominican slang is incredibly popular. I mean, loco, que lo que.
You know what it is? It's that
you guys are honestly insane.
But there's such an abundance of dope things to say in Dominican slang that I'm just like, all right, we'll use it. That's me now.
Like calling your friend tigre, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want to be called a tiger. Are you kidding me?
Dominican Republic is like the fun cousin from like Jersey. You know, they're a little high, they're a little drunk, they're having a good time. They're gonna go away soon.
Nice.
Yeah, they're nice.
They're like nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still remember when I was talking to this dude who was Dominican. I was talking to him, and we were talking in Spanish, and everything was fine. And then his friend called, and he picked up the phone, and something happened. Like, he hit a filter in Photoshop, and everything changed. And he was like, vamos a la discoteca. ¿Qué tú dices?
Tú estás diciendo. Bueno,
and I'm like, I couldn't understand. I was like, whoa, what happened?
I feel like we do a certain level of code switching, but there's various types of code switching, I think, for people like us, which is I speak Spanish. The way I speak Spanish to a Venezuelan is different than the way I speak Spanish to just Latino.
Yeah.
But there's also, like, the way that I speak to a Caribbean Latino is different than what I speak to, for example, an Argentinian. I have trouble understanding Argentinians.
Imagine having to speak to Argentinians.
Yo no entiendo cómo se hace.
I honestly hate you for saying it.
Vos no tenés idea de lo que estás hablando. And
I love that you were speaking and your lips didn't touch each other.
Yeah, this is how you have to speak Argentinian like this.
Pero es que, ¿qué te pasa?
I did.
¿Qué te pasa? pasa?
I closed out a show on Saturday at New York Comedy Club, and this guy comes up to me. He's like, "Man, you were funny," and I was like, "Thanks." He's like, "Eres latino de verdad?" And I'm like, "Sí." He goes, "Impresionante, boludo, eres impresionante."
Eres increíble.
But he asked me in a mad general accent.
Sure.
Habla español, ¿sí? I'm like, yeah. Pero qué dice? You know,
It's like removes this mask. And like, yeah, I can be
I can be myself.
He's like on stage by himself. You know, it's so
Absolutely.
Italian-ish.
Oh yeah, well they're like it's basic.
They think they're Italian.
Argentina is what? Yeah, but there's a lot of Italians there.
Yeah.
I think it's the third largest Italian community outside of Italy.
They eat more pizza per capita than we do.
More than Bensonhurst, Brooklyn? I don't think so.
God forbid.
God forbid.
Imagine your grandmother heard that. You're lucky she's
I
listening.
think here's the thing. I think that like this accent is the American equivalent of like Italians talking in English.
Yeah.
And then en español se volvió esto.
It's the
like,
same
this
thing.
Is in Spanish. It's like
It's the same thing. Instead of they're like smoking cigarettes outside in tight clothing versus being in a deli. It's really the difference.
It's truly the same.
Yeah.
You did mention the relationship between Colombia and Venezuela, and I remember just watching this. Now it's gonna get very serious. A documentary. One of those Facebook videos that came up, and it was like 20 minutes, which is who has that kind of time anymore? But I watched it, and
so you is the answer.
And they did mention a huge flow of migrants going into Colombia.
Cucuta, yeah, through Cucuta. Mm-hmm.
And that Colombia is being very welcoming of the Venezuelans, because when Colombia was going through a lot of their stuff with narcotraficantes, they are Venezuela accepted.
Venezuela was very open.
So what is
arepas for everybody.
Maybe a little what's the history of that relationship? Maybe if you can talk about it.
Well, I think so. Venezuela was like the crown jewel of Latin America. It had the most stable democracy in the region, and it was truly. It was just offensively rich. Like it was
oil.
You had
right?
oil, and a lot of industry went there. A lot of multinational companies went there. It was basically like a hub. It was
a lot of Americans too. Like baseball was the most popular sport, even above soccer, there for a long time.
It was like the Switzerland, but fun.
Yeah. Well, it's like what Cuba
America.
was before communism. Cuba was the one where like Americans could easily get there. The businesses were very influential. Venezuela sort of took that on.
Yes, very much so. And during that time, Colombia, especially during the 80s, and 90s, and honestly until very recently, Colombia was in a consistent and perpetual war. Narcotráfico was Pablo Escobar. They were it was honestly.
Just like the guerrillas in the.
Las guerrillas, la FARC.
FARC, that's the word.
La FARC. And, Colombians were dying, and it was an incredibly unsafe country. And Venezuela was a safe haven. And a lot of Colombians moved to Venezuela during this time. And actually, a lot of Chileans during Pinochet also went to Venezuela. Venezuela was basically, why do you think my Jewish self is from Venezuela?
Yeah.
They were just like, come in. Like, they were very welcoming to immigrants, Italian immigrants.
Do you know where your family originated from?
They were on my dad's side, they're German Jews and they're basically Polish. We're all Polish. It was Polish Jews basically, and then my mom's side, Venezuelan and Cuban, just 100%. Yes,
all right, I didn't know she was. There it is.
So during those decades, Venezuela was very much welcoming to European immigrants, but also immigrants in Latin America of regimes that were and countries that were going through very difficult economic and political times.
Yeah, so for the farmers listening, that wasn't very common in Latin America because of all the arguing.
Yeah.
So just trying to give a little bit. That's very special. Venezuela was to open the doors.
We don't have all the time in the world, but how can we sum up what's happening in Venezuela right now?
Oh my God, there's so much to say.
And
I'll try to sum it up. My family is not great.
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's okay, but we're going to get through it. We're getting people out slowly but surely. Venezuela is going through, I think, if not the biggest, one of the biggest economic disasters of this century. It has an inflation rate of over 1 million. It's truly insane.
I saw that there were people selling like arts and crafts made out of the money.
Yes,
that's how
the money is worthless. It costs, the paper costs more money than the
value
of
el
Bolivar.
Yeah.
So, that happened when I was in Costa Rica when I was a kid. The colones is their currency. and someone made a bowl out of it. Like they just glue it to the outside of a bowl. And I was like, yo, how could you do that? And the guy was like, yeah, 1,100 colones is like
nothing.
an American dollar. So don't even worry about it.
You like a stack of Venezuelan bolivares is like equivalent to 5 cents. It's like insane. But simultaneously, there's a lot of political repression. There's political prisoners. Caracas is the murder and kidnapping capital of the world. So you have like a way to synthesize this is like a metaphor of there's this, really popular guy in high school. He was on the football team. He was like, magna cum laude or whatever. And then suddenly when you go back to the high school reunion, you find out that he's like a drug addict who's been sleeping on his sister's couch and has like become nothing. It's kind of like that in that there's so much potential for this country, but the wrong people have been in power and Hugo Chavez, what people don't know is that he overspent so much money. He was spending money like crazy. That's why he had so much support. He was just like hemorrhaging money everywhere. And then the oil prices went down. And when the oil prices went down, the
Ponzi scheme fell apart.
The Ponzi scheme fell apart, and now we are at a huge deficit. The country cannot function economically. It's not functioning. And we have right now one of the biggest refugee crises of these years. It's like Syria and Venezuela is very, like, a tenth of our population has left in the past, year.
Well, you just said that Caracas is the kidnapping and murder capital. Caracas, folks, has beaten ISIS in the rankings. That's a big deal.
The power rankings.
The power rankings.
It's like, where would it be more deadly? ISIS country or Caracas? And it's Caracas. And Caracas has Venezuela has no enemies. Venezuela is the 4th most oil-rich country in the world. Venezuela is surrounded by people, like, they're not like Israel that's like surrounded by,
enemies.
Enemies.
No.
There's no reason. There's no reason for us to be in this situation.
Yeah.
It's like you get a test and all you have to do is sign your name and return it. No, it's like they took a massive dump on it and returned it.
Alexis has failed that test several times.
Yeah, why do you poop on your test, man?
I can't remember my name, so I revert to what I know.
Oh my God,
I revert to what I know, folks.
Oh my God. So anyway,
look at all the corn in there.
Okay.
So, you brought it back to corn.
So I'm curious.
Corn to fry.
Look at all the rositas.
Some of the insight, because I didn't know exactly how bad it was. But I'm curious. In regards to the soccer team, the national team,
la Vino Tinto.
Vino Tinto. They
and
are
Joseph Martinez.
Yeah, Joseph Martinez.
A Venezuelan just won the most goals in MLS.
Oh my God,
MVP,
really?
Yangel Herrera from NYCFC. So there's a couple people that represent the country very well, and
that's awesome.
I know Joseph Martinez does talk about his roots and where he came from, and how, especially with what's going on in Venezuela, how inspiring it can be, for the kids there to have something to look forward to,
Absolutely.
especially in dire straits. What's the Vino Tinto mean to you?
La Vino Tinto. Listen, for me, I'm not a big sports person. I don't even know.
Because you just said sports person.
I don't even know what the back of in basketball. I don't know what the back thing of the hoop is. I don't know.
It's the butt of the basket.
I don't know what that is. I don't know. But let me tell you, it is impossible to separate soccer from being Venezuelan. And Latino in general. Yeah. Soccer is it's just a thing that you do, and it's a thing that you watch, and it's something that fills you with pride, specifically, I think, when your country itself fills you with so much sadness.
Yeah.
Having something that is just inherently positive, like La Vino Tinto, which I've gone to see live. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
It's like when you see Beyonce in concert.
I really hope they do stuff from their first album.
Their show. I went to their show. And it is like, it's identity. And it's a form of celebrating your national identity without having to get political and having to remember, the trials and tribulations of anything that your country's going through. So La Vino Tinto is like, everyone loves La Vino Tinto. Like, who doesn't like La Vino Tinto?
Yeah.
And like when La Vino Tinto didn't classify for the World Cup, it was like awful. I was just like, can't we just have one thing?
Let's win something.
Please. Yeah. It's like,
this is Joseph Martinez, by the way.
I love it.
Tattoos.
He plays for Atlanta
cuts
United.
in the eyebrows.
Honestly, he looks like my swimming instructor from back home.
I hope that's who that is, though, to be 100%.
Incredible.
Yeah.
That's it's cool because it does. I felt that way when the U.S. missed out on the World Cup.
Yeah.
Can we have one thing? I'm kidding.
No,
as Americans,
global domination is not enough for us.
somebody promised we would win so much we'd be bored of it by now.
What was the last game you saw with Venezuela? Was it here or in Venezuela?
It was here. It was actually in Boston.
Okay.
Yeah, against the U.S. team.
Oh, nice.
And Venezuela won.
All right.
And I
We
was
don't
like,
have to bring it up.
either way. I mean, I was like what you said. I'm like, U.S. has too much. You guys have Beyonce. Like, you fucking relax.
She's a center back. She's really good.
Like, it's fine. And
Who's the Venezuelan Beyonce? Is there Venezuela? Who's?
Is it just Shakira? Like, because you love
Shakira's
Colombia?
Colombian.
I said because you love Colombia that much.
I don't know what the Venezuelan Beyonce is.
What's the main
Shakira was
music?
Lebanese, by the way.
Salsa or cumbia? That's like really the main thing in Venezuela, or is it both?
Right now, it's like a mix of like a reggaeton and I mean, our main thing is merengue. Merengue and salsa is like at
Really?
every
Merengue?
party. Merengue is
Okay.
huge for us, like Dominicans.
Yeah.
It came from DR, didn't
Yeah,
it?
that's right. Yeah. We invented music.
Okay, let's take a little
Yeah.
chill pill.
Wow.
Just because you
the most cute,
talk
the most
in
Dominican
music,
thing. Yeah, exactly. Well, they do sing everything they say. That's a good point.
Every word is bars.
Yeah,
all right? It's
yeah.
all bars.
Oh, hold on.
Pero
Drop the
lo
beat.
que te va pasando aquí.
Well, Joanna, a couple things before we let you go, because you are on the Netflix show Bill Nye Saves the World.
Yes, Queen.
What was that experience like?
It was really fun. Just becoming.
What's Bill like?
He's
Yeah.
he's the best.
Behind the lab coat.
Who was it? Was it you that was on the subway with him?
Yeah, we went out to dinner, and then he was like, "I don't want to take a taxi," so we went on the subway, and I was like, "How do you live your life?"
Bill
People
Nye.
stick like because he's not like he's not like a Brad Pitt where people would be like, "Oh my God, that's Brad Pitt, leave him alone." It's like that's fucking Bill Nye.
Yo, let's go fuck around with Bill Nye. Yeah.
It's like he's like an icon. He's not just a celebrity. So it is insane.
Yeah.
People he is so whatever. Anyway,
I heard he's sharp too because he did stand up for a while. I heard
He's very
like-
smart. He's very
He's
smart.
very funny too.
He's very funny and he's just very nice. Like once you're his friend, like he's really real and kind and
He's
wonderful.
the Beyonce of science.
He actually is the Beyonce of I mean,
Yeah.
and Neil deGrasse Tyson is like the.
Michelle Williams, Kelly Rowland.
No, I honestly think there's something like Lady Gaga.
Oh,
Ooh,
okay.
okay.
The
A
Lady
little more
Gaga.
eccentric.
Yeah.
I want to see him
little
in
bit
a
more
meat suit.
Yeah, like
Where's meat dresses?
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure he does. But yeah, it was great, and it was just fun to use comedy to educate people on science stuff.
Especially in this day and age.
Especially in this day and age where a lot of people are like, science, what? Here's a Bible.
Yeah, yeah. Science, can't trust it.
I can't trust facts.
Yeah, here's a book we don't know the authors of.
Did you feel like you had to be science it up, like speak smarter when you were in like meetings and stuff?
No,
Speak
I
smart.
think the
It's
whole
all a bunch of scientists in the
yeah,
room, probably.
I think the whole point was making it so people that had a hard time passing biology in high school could watch and understand and
Okay.
like it. Do you know, Alexis is raising his hand.
Yeah.
Alexis doesn't know where babies come from.
No.
He needs that bio.
Of course, I do know people who don't wear condoms. Thank you very much.
There you go. Oh, good
They
thing.
also go to hell.
Yeah, because if you don't wear a condom, then the stork comes. We all know how it goes.
We all know how it goes.
Yeah.
It's in the Bible.
The stork can smell the condom. And it knows to stay away. It's 100%.
I remember my first class at UCB. It was with Eric Tenoy. Do you remember Eric Tenoy?
Yeah, I know Eric.
And
I really hope it's a biology class.
no, but I remember he said, speak like you know what you're talking. Like basically, speak at like your highest intelligence, right?
Yeah.
And that's sort of as comedians when we're put like we're in sometimes we're in a soccer space and everybody is all soccer and knows all this soccer stuff and we're like, all right, well, we can't just be a bunch of dupes out here, right?
Yeah, we
can't
got to
just be
show
dummies.
we're supposed to be here right now.
Yeah.
So it sometimes.
And
we
by the
may
way, that
not-
is me trying.
Yeah,
that
sometimes
is
we may not know exactly what we're talking about, but we can package it in
Yeah.
a way.
Never
that-
stop me, bro.
Well, people are like, oh, this
Of
guy
course.
definitely knows what he's talking about, kinda.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think I had to prepare before every field piece.
Okay.
So I would also interview a scientist beforehand. So I'd go in there with some baseline knowledge. But I think the funniest moments are the moments where I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like,
But you could be
completely
yourself,
lost.
yeah.
Yeah, I think so. But I think functioning at your highest intelligence also means like being curious and following the what versus knowing what you're talking about. Yeah. Like instead of being like, I don't get it, it's like, wait, why is it that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's trying to uncover and discover things, I think, is a way to cover up how dumb I am.
Yeah. I'd very much lean to, I don't get it.
Yeah.
What is
I like to mush the person talking, so I still look like an alpha.
You know what's crazy? Our president does that. So
Yeah, I know. Well, where do you think I learned it from? I watch Home Alone too a lot. You know.
oh God, he was that. He was in that movie.
Yeah,
he's a superstar. Anyway, Joanna Hausmann, thank you so much.
Thank you guys
for being on the show. I hope I feel like this might be one of the first times where we didn't really have like a straight up soccer person.
I'm so sorry.
We want, but no.
How dare you?
But we want some people. Some of our fans have been asking like, hey, we should get more comedians on the show to mix it up.
Yeah.
And,
although we do need you to vote. What is the appropriate word for straw? This is Joanna Hausmann's vote.
I think it's pitillo.
Pitillo.
We can't have that.
I mean, it's a deadlock. It's a hung jury.
Right, well,
I'm really sorry, but etymologically speaking is which one? Wait, which one?
Absorbente. So
that is ridiculous. Absolutely not.
No, it is not. First
How
of all,
many
it's beautiful
syllables do
sounding.
you need for such a simple thing?
Absorbente is also like papel absorbente is what you absorb with. You don't absorb stuff through a straw.
You do.
You suck it through a
100%. You
straw.
absorb the liquid through the straw. I don't know.
No,
what
you
you're
don't.
talking about.
And what is your word?
Sorbeto. That's what I usually go
So
with.
real quick, how this happened was Mexican restaurant, lady comes over, says to me, popote. And I was like, okay, I'm married.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I was like, huh? And she goes, popote. It's him, Dominican, next to him, dude from El Salvador. And I was like, what? And he goes, that's a straw. And I go, don't you mean absorbente? And then in a very sort of cunty tone, he goes, it's sorbeto. And I'm like, what the hell is that? No one's ever said that.
That's me. Yeah.
And I was like, it's absorbente. And he's like, no, it is not. And then the Salvi kid goes like, no, it's not. It's popote. And I was like, what? Straw. And the lady's just like waiting there to see if
just
I
like,
take straw.
do you want a goddamn straw that's going to murder sea turtles or not?
Yeah, please take the straw.
Yeah.
And then somehow we brought it up in the podcast, and it's just exploded. And now you've added a new one.
Pitillo.
So,
Hi, listeners. Just so you know, the real word for straw is pitillo.
coming from a British woman?
It has to be true.
Estro. We're all changing it to estro.
El estro.
Joanna, where can people follow you and see your work?
Follow me on YouTube, Joanna Hausmann. That's Hausmann. I know it's stupid. It should have been just spelled the normal way. Mm-hmm. And then follow me on Instagram, Joe House. Johaus.
And yeah, she does absolutely great work. Like I said before, her YouTube channel is unreal, so funny. So please check her out.
And we're all in a bunch of videos with her in the past. So it's really cool.
I did the Argentina intervention.
That's
so
hilarious.
good.
Which was really fun.
That's one of my
did
favorite videos.
shit white Latinos say.
And you said you look like someone on Irish Money.
Yeah.
And I use that to this day to
Yeah.
describe. Like for
They asked
podcasts
me-
like this, it's like, so what do you look like? It's like, okay, speakers, like listeners, close your eyes. Think about a woman on Irish Money, and that's me.
Well, they go, the director, I think it was Chris. I think
Chris,
was it Chris? He was like, I don't know, just riff a couple things of what you look like. And I think the third one was like, oh, you look like you're on Irish Money. Like, you can't be Latino. You look like you're on Irish Money. And you were like in the doorway. You had to leave because you were laughing. And I was like, that's the one they'll use. They ended up not using it, I don't
No,
think.
it is.
Oh,
That's
is it?
the one that's
okay,
used.
that's the one that's used.
That's
Cool.
what.
Alexis didn't even watch his own video.
No. I know it got over 1 million hits, so just celebrated, didn't watch
all
it.
because of Alexis.
Yeah.
I think it might be my fault that we did that video because when I first met you, you put me in that stupid elf costume.
Oh my
and then
God.
you were like, Ponte allá or something. You said something. I was like, whoa, where'd you learn Spanish?
And
you
I
were
was
like,
I was like, oh, this has just happened to me every day of my life.
And you said something, and then like the next call I got from Flama was like, do you want to be in this video of shit white Latinos thing?
Yeah, you
and I was
offended
like,
our host. Do you want to?
oh God, this is my fault. There's that like a filter.
No, every single human being I ever meet when I tell them I'm from Venezuela has like, it's as if I'm David Blaine and it just made their card disappear. They're like,
Yeah. How'd you do it?
how do you do it again?
Say something else.
It's like I brought my girlfriend to Dominican Republic earlier this year, and she does not speak Spanish, but she
never came back, by the way. She has a whole
She's still
family.
there.
Yeah.
she loves her ditch. Leave her alone. I'm kidding. But she loves dancing. She knows how to dance really well to merengue and bachata and everything. And that was the thing that they just couldn't believe. They saw her dancing like a bachata. They were like,
When she dances, you think,
yeah,
you You think like a Dominican woman put on the costume of a white woman.
Wait, really? She's
legit.
she takes classes?
Yeah, she's a very, very.
But
good,
like even like the little movement, like little things, you think
little
it's like
subtle-
cultural.
Which is like the little hip.
Yeah,
the
oh
way
yeah.
when
That's
you like
a very
lift your hip a little bit.
signature Dominican.
Yeah.
Everything, it feels like she's culturally Latino.
That's amazing.
But she has the face of a German woman, you know? So like when I'm sure when people saw her dance, they were like, everyone come to the town square. You know, Brujeria. You know?
La Blanca está bailando.
It's all over for us. We've lost everything. They learned to dance.
Joanna Hausmann, we usually do a thing whenever we end the show with a guest. We yell the Cooligans.
And you'll know when.
It's like a fun thing. It'll all make sense. So you just
Trust me, you'll know exactly when
join
I'm doing.
in. When
And
we
there's
do
a camera right there that's hanging down. You see that stick coming down?
Yeah.
There's a camera
That's the
there.
camera
So that's
you're
what we're
gonna
going
be
to
looking
point.
at. So
Has that been recording?
You've been on camera. There's 3 cameras here.
You've
You've
been
been
on
on camera the
camera
whole
the entire
time.
I've been on camera.
we
Yeah.
forgot to tell you this.
You can't hear it. Maybe you could actually. She, let's say, flipped the bird.
Yeah.
She gave you the Caracas hello.
I've been touching my hair the entire time. Like I could just be myself.
Well, you were.
You were.
I was myself.
So, for Joanna Hausmann, my name is Cristian Polanco.
My name is Alexis Absorbente Guerreros.
And together, what are we?
The Cooligans!
Nailed it.
What's up? It's the world champion, Judah Friedlander, and you're watching the Cooligans. Why? Because you're cool. This is what winners look like right here, man.
I mean, you're looking at us.
Right now with my legs, I just juggled the ball 80,000 times.
You missed it.
Yeah.
He's been playing keepy uppy since I met him.
Yep, look faster, guys.
Go Team USA.